we all love John and we all want to portray a really, it's a homage to his life. He's an amazing man.
Oh, do you remember this when you were younger? Do you remember that? Or
It was like that at school. It was kind of mucky and noisy and sloppy and a bit of violence. It really was like that at school.
who were so brilliant and bright and funny and generous.
Only 10% of people who have Tourette's.
I just spent a lot of time learning, really, in many different ways. Like I watched a lot of videos. I watched the documentaries. I sort of based myself in Galashiels and spent a lot of time with John. And I also travelled to bits of Scotland with Tourette Scotland, meeting people, Zooming people, read some books. Yeah, I just sort of gained as much knowledge around the condition as I possibly could. We all love John and we all want to portray a really, it's a homage to his life. He's an amazing man. So I knew at a certain point I was going to have to just say, right, this is mine now. I'm taking, I'm taking ownership over this, and it's my version of John. So I'd say that was actually weirdly the biggest challenge was just allowing myself to take that ownership.
I think the pressure on my part as a writer and film director was trying to find that very delicate balance of the humour and also the emotion and the tragedy within the story, and trying to make people realise that they can laugh as well as feeling many other emotions. So I think that was my biggest challenge, really.
You pick up things on props and you go, oh, I remember that one. There's lots of that. Oh, do you remember this when you were younger? Do you remember that? Or, the clothes. Or my auntie used to have one of those jackets. Or I remember somebody who had those. So, yeah, there's a lot of nostalgia that goes on.
The school scenes are great because it was like that at school. It was kind of mucky and noisy and sloppy and a bit of violence. It really was like that at school. So in the 80s, early 80s I was actually. Yeah. Late 70s actually, so way back.
His accent was impeccable.
Yeah.
It was really, and it's a tough accent.
Yes.
It's a tough accent to do. It's not an easy one. And it's especially tough to try and fool people who are actually Scottish. We can normally... You can hear, but no, his accent's absolutely, it's perfect.
Yeah. And nice for us to be Scottish for a wee while.
Yes, very nice.
And we had a brilliant day where we had lots of young people who have Tourette's came to film with us. So we had the scene that's in the hall, and that was the most beautiful day on a film set I think I've ever had, because there was these extraordinary young people who were so brilliant and bright and funny and generous, and just spending the day with them and talking to them about their experiences, and they were so open and trusting, and it was just beautiful to see them all in a room together. And a lot of them, it was the first time they'd met somebody else who had Tourette. So you could see friendships forming on that day. And I just thought that made the film all worthwhile. Yeah.
I'm much more aware of Tourette syndrome. I'm aware of things like, only 10% of people who have Tourette's swear. There are 90% who have other forms of Tourette's. Some are very hidden. I know that, all Tourette's are very exhausting to live with and to cope with. But I think for me personally, it's kind of opened up a world where I am more sympathetic to people with many neurodiverse conditions, autism, ADHD, OCD, as well as Tourette's. And we've had some wonderful screenings around the country, and people coming up to us and saying, I'm autistic. Thank you very much for shining a light on neurodiversity, which doesn't always get its fair share of screen time these days.